Alright guys, today I wanted to make a video about the transfer rumour of Marc Cucurella to Manchester City. So actually got three reports today for this. First of all, we'll start with The Athletic, the most reliable. Manchester City have had a £30 million offer for Spain left-back Marc Cucurella rejected by Brighton, who valued the 23-year-old at £50 million. So for me, yeah, 30 million's probably a little bit on the low side, considering he is one of Brighton's best players, and they are going to want a big fee for him because Brighton are currently a team who I think under Graham Potter are on the rise more than downslide, because last season I think they finished ninth, did they, in the end? So just like missed out on the European spots by a few places, but still had a really positive season and played some excellent football. 50 million though, I don't know. I'd probably value him at somewhere in between, but I can see why Brighton are holding out for 50 million to sell him. And then the Mail have added to what the Athletic have put with City will make an improved offer for Cucurella but have other options if a fee cannot be agreed. And then finally, iSport are reporting City have been offered Benfica's Spanish fullback Alejandro Grimaldo, aged 26, as an alternative option to Cucurella. Now, I personally don't think City will want to sell for backups. I think City and Liverpool are, I think it's fair to say, or have been, the two dominant sides in maybe not dominant, but like two of the dominant sides in Europe over the past 5 years, and they're the two that have always consistently been up there in terms of like whatever competition they're in. So City, I feel, or what I've noticed with Liverpool is Liverpool, once they target a player, if they get an off, if they get rejected by the club that player plays for, they won't move on to another target. They will insist on that player. And I feel Manchester City do a similar thing. So I personally don't think they'll just sell for signing Grimaldo or whoever their other options are. I think Guardiola, once he decides he wants someone, he'll keep going until he gets them, and I can see why he wants Cucurella, because I think Cucurella would fit in at Man City absolutely perfectly with the way they play. In fact, the way Man City play is not too dissimilar to the way Brighton play. Brighton is a little bit more, maybe a little bit more fluid in terms of the positional movement, but with they're both two possession dominant sides, and that suits Cucurella absolutely perfectly. That's why he had such a brilliant season at Brighton last year. And the £50 million fee that Brighton are asking for is not actually too dissimilar to what Manchester City have paid in the past for players like João Cancelo, Kyle Walker, and Benjamin Mendy. Now, obviously, those three have all fared differently at Man City. Cancelo has only been there 3 years, but it seems to have got better every single season, and last year was one of the best fullbacks in the league. In fact, one of the best players in the league at one point. Kyle Walker is not not ever really been one of City's best players, but he's always been consistent and has always done a very good job at right back, even if he does have the occasional game where he makes a mistake or so. And Ben Mendy obviously had a bit of a torrid time, and the less said about him now, the better. Yeah, we'll just stop there with Ben Mendy. He seems to be a bit of an idiot. But yeah, so it doesn't always work out when Man City pay these big fees for defenders. That goes for centre backs as well. As we've seen, like John Stones has been quite good, same with Diaz and Laporte. But also before that, they had Mangala and Otamendi, although to be fair, those were signed in the Manuel Pellegrini era, not Pep Guardiola. So, we'll give that a miss. But Yeah, so I think he'll fit absolutely perfectly into Man City system, although he isn't really too used to playing in a back four in the Premier League. At Brighton, it's mostly been a back three, and to be fair, he's played in multiple positions in that back three. He's either been the left-sided of the three at the back, or more commonly the wing back in the four in midfield. But Guardiola doesn't really use three at the back, so I think there is only going to be one position that Cucurella really gets used in Guardiola's team, and that'll just be left back. And would he be a starter is another question, because £50 million, if they are willing to pay, is a lot of money to pay for a player who isn't starting. Although obviously there is Pep Roulette, so that sort of you know balances that out. And also they've already signed a £50 million player this summer who probably won't be starting come the start of the season in Calvin Phillips. But they've got two fullback positions in their team, and three players who are of a high, if they sign Cucurella, who are of a high level to play those positions in Kyle Walker, Jack Cancelo and Cucurella. So who would sort of play the backup role? I feel as though Cancelo's got to be a starter the way he played last season. And I just think with Walker's age, like, and Cucurella being maybe 9 or 10 years younger, maybe not 10, but 8 or 9 definitely, you'd feel as though Cucurella would probably get given the edge to embed him in this Man City team and slowly force Kyle Walker out and make him a backup. Or is it time that Kyle Walker maybe takes up a backup centre-back role as well and just covers for everyone in that defence? Because we've seen it with England, he can play the centre-back role very well. However, that is in a back three, but with the amount of speed he has got, it wouldn't surprise me if he can transition into that position very well. And yeah, that's just another option. Obviously, the Zinchenko looking like he's about to leave for Arsenal for 30 odd million. So I think that would be a bigger loss to City squad than a lot of people might think, because he does play a lot of games this season, even if it isn't the big games, because most of the big games last year it was Walker and Cancelo. But Zinchenko still played a lot of games when either player was rested. And yeah, that could be where Cucurella gets a lot of his game time to begin with if he was to join. So yeah, he probably would get a fair bit of game time now I start to talk about it. But yeah, I really don't think City will go for a backup if they're definitely sure they want Cucurella to join. If I'm rating this transfer out of 10, I would personally give it a 8 out of 10, because I like the fit. I think Cucurella would do really well at Man City, and I think he would arguably be Man City signing of the summer if he was to join, because although the fee is very similar to Haaland and Phillips I just don't feel fits as well, and I don't feel as though he's just going to be as needed, if that makes sense. Obviously, there is 5 subs next season in the Premier League, but he's not going to be starting ahead of Rodri. Rodri's arguably the best defensive midfielder in the league. And Haaland, I just can't see Haaland staying at Man City for a long period of time. I think he'll stay there a few years and maybe get quite a lot of goals, and maybe City can get a good return on him in terms of the transfer fee, but the wages he's taken in has also got to be taken into consideration as well. But I feel as though Cucurella could be a long-term signing that does really well. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.